In this video, I want to talk about what I call the realization and the beauty of it. What is the realization? So the realization is basically when you become so caught up in something and perhaps it's not working. So you start stressing over it, you're confused, unsure, and you're basically just questioning everything you know about this thing. But then you give yourself a chance to step back, reflect, relax, and then there it is. You realize that the answer you were looking for was right there, right in front of you, the whole time. When this happens, it usually feels like one big singular event. You finally realized it. But in my opinion, there's usually a lot more going on behind the scenes. The mini realizations. Next, I want to share my realization I had with gaming. If you take a look at one of my previous videos, in the end I sort of mentioned how I had this realization that I need to be more mindful when I'm gaming. I came with this conclusion that I'm all done grinding video games, I'm not going to chase boring, unnecessary achievements anymore, and now I'm only going to play for fun and that's it. In that video, some parts of it made it feel like it was kind of this light switch that suddenly I went from playing, more that I'd consider healthy for me to barely even touching them. And that was somewhat true, but I feel like it wasn't true in the form of just being a simple light switch. It was so much more of a gradual buildup, a slow burn, that led me to what appeared to be one. If you think a lot about successful individuals like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, a lot of them had rapid success. At least on the surface, it seems like, right? Overnight success, it felt like. But of course, many of us know that before that had happened, they experienced thousands of failures, rejections, many days of seeing no results, or just very, very minuscule progress. I like to call this sort of the light switch effect, where it feels like a sudden shift, whether it's in your mindset, in success in your life, or just really anything else. So this is like the, I guess you could say, hidden danger of the light switch. And that is that this light switch effect, it overshadows and makes us neglect everything that went behind it. Before I mentally decided to not play so much and make a big change, was all of that time I spent playing until then, was it a waste? Was it meaningless? No, I don't think so. Perhaps, objectively, it was not the best way to spend it. Also, before I made the video, I thought about reducing gaming times and different things I could do instead. I thought of stuff like that several times. But even though I wasn't successful at cutting back right off the get-go, I eventually got there. Those countless prior attempts I had to cut back, balance my life better, all that sort of stuff, they all led me to this position where I am right now. Each one of those attempts I had to get better, and maybe it didn't work, they still all had meaning to it and it made an impact, even if it felt invisible then. Each one of those to me was like a mini realization that compounded over each other. I'll give another example. Lately I've gotten a little into coding, I've made some simple websites, and I've came across lots of bugs or errors in my code, which often breaks everything. It makes the entire project just unusable. And then, only to realize that I just forgot a certain letter, I messed up the formatting, I forgot a comma, I forgot a quotation mark, and that breaks it. But it's not like I had written bad code, I just simply forgot one piece of it. And then once I got it, everything again worked very well together. So overall, I was doing a great job the entire time, doing my best efforts the entire time. But it felt like nothing was going right for most of that duration of the project. Even though it was, I just couldn't see it yet. If you think about your own life, maybe there's something that took you longer than expected to achieve or understand. Maybe it was math or something. Hey, I get it, math is hard. All the time you spent trying to understand something, but it just wasn't clicking. Those seem like failures to us. Were they meaningless? No, definitely not. You have to look at where you are now. But again, even if you didn't get it right the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time, you got it right now. So definitely each one of those prior attempts did have meaning. It gave you the realization to try the next thing, which brought you over to the next, which eventually led to this sort of light switch effect, or this big realization. So whether your past strategies you had were technically sound or not, it doesn't really matter because of where it led you to now. Okay, so what are some things we can take away from this? I would say the first thing is just having patience and trust in the process, whatever you're trying to do. Keep focusing on this process, keep trying, modify the process, make some adjustments, but definitely have patience and just keep going. Have some trust in yourself, have trust that you know how to handle this. And then I would say, kind of tying onto the trust, is also just having constant and relentless belief in yourself. I really do believe that these things will kind of lead you to this sort of light switch effect, even though it really isn't just a light switch. It'll lead to your life that makes it look like that, basically. So, in the end, what is the actual realization? I think that the ultimate realization is that there really isn't just one. There's so many mini realizations that happened, which led you to what felt like all one big breakthrough. And that's the beauty of it, because it reminds you that your past efforts did in fact have an impact, even if you couldn't see it then.